You know, there's this really powerful idea that our thoughts and our words aren't just noise. They're tools. They're the things we use to literally build the reality we live in. So today, we're going to break down an ancient framework for actually mastering this inner world. We'll look at two very, very different paths you can take, and believe me, the consequences are profound. Let's get into it. So let me just ask you this right off the bat. If your mind were a garden, what are you actually planting in there? Like, for real? Are you carefully tending to flowers, to things that bring you joy and nourishment? Or are you kind of just letting the weeds take over? This one single metaphor, it's the key to everything we're about to cover. All right, so let's start with the good stuff. The cultivation. How do we actually tend to that inner garden? Well, we can look at this as a set of 4 practical skills, a clear path for active growth. And what's so amazing is that this isn't just some vague advice to think positive. Buddhist teachings lay out a very specific, structured method for this. It's a 4-part practice designed to systematically pull out the things that harm us and, at the same time, cultivate the things that help us thrive. This practice is called Forjungan. Think of it as your complete spiritual gardening toolkit. This is the constructive path, right? The conscious choice to build a mind that creates peace and real, positive results in your life. So how does it actually work? Well, it's 4 really clear steps. First up is cutting. This is about actively severing the weeds, those past mistakes, those negative habits you know you have. Second, you've got blocking. This is like building a fence of mindfulness to keep new weeds from getting in. Third is growing. This is all about nurturing the good things you already do, helping those little sprouts get bigger and stronger. And finally, planting. This is the really creative step where you actively go out and sow new seeds of goodness and positive intention. So cutting might be deciding, okay, I'm going to stop endlessly scrolling through bad news. Blocking is then putting your phone in another room when you need to focus. Growing is noticing you enjoy that little morning walk and maybe adding 5 more minutes to it. And planting, that's starting a totally new habit, like spending a few minutes every single day learning something you're excited about. See? It's a full system. Okay, now we have to look at the opposite path. Because for every dedicated gardener, there's always the threat of a vandal. This is the path of destruction, and it all centers on one incredibly devastating act: slander. And the price for this? Well, it's shockingly high. And let's be super clear, we're not just talking about regular gossip here. In this context, slander is much more specific. It's attacking someone's sincere effort to be a better person. It's mocking their spiritual practice, telling them it's a waste of time, and trying to get others to pile on and condemn it too. You see this all the time, right? The cynical social media comments that shoot down someone's genuine enthusiasm. It's more than just being mean, it's an attack on hope itself. So what's happening on an energetic level? Well, praise is an act of opening yourself up. When you genuinely praise someone's good deed, it's like you're welcoming that same positive energy into your own life. Slander is the total opposite. It's an attack that fills you with internal toxins, with anger, with jealousy, with resentment. You end up poisoning your own garden just to spite someone else's. The ancient texts, they do not pull any punches. About the consequences, this quote here describes the fate of someone who engages in this kind of slander. Now, a kalpa is an unimaginably long period of time. We're talking eons. And I know the word hell can be a bit jarring, but in this framework, it's not about some fiery pit someone else sends you to. It's seen as a natural consequence, a state of intense, prolonged mental suffering that you create entirely from your own destructive actions. It's a karmic debt of just staggering proportions. And get this, even after that immense period of suffering, the journey isn't over. The path back is described as this long, incredibly difficult climb. First through difficult rebirths, as a hungry ghost or an animal for thousands more eons. And then, finally, a return to a human life, but one marked by incredible hardship, poverty, low status, and physical challenges. The message could not be clearer. The consequences are severe, and they are incredibly long-lasting. Okay, so I know what you're probably thinking. Why? Why is praise so incredibly good for you and slander so catastrophically bad? I mean, it sounds extreme, right? Well, the answer comes down to one absolutely crucial concept we have to understand. And that concept is called sangun. It literally translates to the root of goodness. But it's not just a single good deed. Sangun is the fundamental seed that exists inside every single person. It's our potential for enlightenment, for hope, for freedom from suffering. It is the most precious thing a person can possibly cultivate. And this is the whole point. Slander is considered so terrible because it is a direct attack on this sangun, this root of goodness. When you mock someone's spiritual efforts, you are essentially taking a knife to the root of hope itself. And not just for them, but for you too. You are actively destroying the very potential for growth. The source material gives us this absolutely brilliant analogy to help us get it. Think of the great vows of enlightened beings, their unshakable commitment to help everyone as a massive ship. The ship is so big and so powerful that it can carry even the heaviest stones of our negative karma right across the ocean of suffering. And here's where it all clicks into place. Praising the good efforts of others, that's like gratefully accepting a spot on this giant ship. You get to benefit from the collective positive momentum of everyone on board. But slander is like picking up a hammer and punching a hole in the hull of the very ship that's carrying you and everybody else. It is a profoundly self-destructive act that puts the entire journey in jeopardy. So this is all pretty big picture stuff, right? But what do we do with it? How do we apply it? Let's bring it down from the why to the how, with some simple, actionable things you can start doing, like today. Here's a super practical guide. First, a daily check-in. Every night before you go to sleep, just take a second to note one negative habit you cut and one positive action you planted. Simple. Second, practice what's called rejoicing together. So instead of defaulting to criticism when you're online or in a meeting, make a conscious effort to just be happy for other people when they try something positive. Celebrate their connection to their own root of goodness. And finally, just use kind words. Actively praise the good things you see in the people around you. Your friend, your family, a coworker, a stranger. Be the person who helps raise the sails, not the one poking holes in them. And that really leaves us with one final thought to take with you. As you go about your day, just think about that great ship of collective progress we're all on. And ask yourself, today, did my words, my thoughts, my actions, did they help raise a sail for myself and for others? Or did they drop a heavy anchor, weighing everyone down? The choice, as always, is yours.